Welcome, everyone. Let's dive right into this explainer and explore how a company called Emergent is pushing AI way beyond just, spitting out simple front-end code. We're talking about building full production-ready software for small businesses. For the longest time, building serious software was a VIP club. You either needed deep technical knowledge or incredibly deep pockets. But today, well, we're going to see how that entire paradigm is fundamentally shifting.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the small business tech gap, look at how we're democratizing production-ready software, peek under the hood at the infrastructure, see these multi-agent systems in action, and finally wrap up with automating end-to-end business operations. Let's get into it.
So, kicking things off with Section 1, the small business tech gap.
To really grasp the scale of what we're dealing with here, consider this sheer volume. Small businesses account for a staggering 70% of global employment. Just think about that for a second. That represents millions and millions of unique, highly specific niches. Now, in the traditional tech world, software companies are usually forced to move up market, right? They chase the large enterprise clients just to make the economics work, which leaves these millions of small business niches completely underserved.
And here's where it gets crazy. Despite driving half the global economy, literally generating 50% of the world's GDP, these smaller businesses have historically been totally starved of the tools needed to build custom software. The barrier to entry was just way too high. But now, for the first time ever, AI platforms can actually step in and serve all of these millions of specific niches at essentially zero marginal cost. It's a real game changer.
Moving right along to Section 2, democratizing production-ready software.
Now, a crucial thing to understand is that users aren't looking at Emergent and comparing it to a simple coding tool or some standard IDE. When business operators use this platform, they're comparing it to hiring a traditional $250,000 human development agency to build serious, business-critical applications. Because of that massive comparison, users aren't super price-sensitive or even latency-sensitive. I mean, if an AI takes a few hours to build a complex app, that is still vastly superior to waiting 3 months for a traditional project to finish. At the end of the day, what absolutely matters to these users is getting a final, production-ready outcome.
Let's put a human face on this. Take a look at this quote. This is from Christy, a user up in Alaska. So she's a clinical psychologist and an equestrian coach. For 10 whole years, she's been trying to marry those two fields into a custom application. Actually, she even went to a traditional dev shop in Nova Scotia, got quoted this massive fee, and it just didn't work out. It was too much. But using Emergent, she finally built her app, EquiMind. And guys, this isn't some clunky prototype. It's a live app on the App Store that merges psychology and equestrian coaching, and it's currently being used by hundreds of people. She is the perfect example of a domain expert who finally has the power to bring her ideas to life without writing a single line of code.
All right, Section 3. Let's pop the hood and look at the infrastructure making this possible.
To make all of this actually work, Emergent realized pretty quickly they couldn't just slap together off-the-shelf parts. When they started, the container technology out there just wasn't built for this specific kind of AI workload. So what did they do? They invented their own container tech from the ground up, built right on top of Kubernetes. This proprietary system handles something called memory snapshotting. Basically, it allows the AI agents to save their exact state, pause, and run in parallel. And they built this for a very specific reason. If an AI has been coding away for hours and makes a mistake, you absolutely do not want it losing all that progress. It's the secret sauce for solving the verification loop and letting these agents run on super long horizons.
So the architecture they built flows like this. It starts with that snapshotting to save states, which then allows multiple agents to run side by side in parallel. But the most fascinating part? That's step 3, long-term memory integration. Because Emergent owns the entire stack, right down to the hosting, they capture incredibly deep logs. If a weird error only pops up when real, live users are interacting with the app, they pipe that error data straight back into a long-term memory system. That means the AI isn't just learning from one user session. It is actively learning across every single app being built on the entire platform. So the next time it encounters that same error, boom, it solves it using fewer tokens and with way higher accuracy.
And the results speak for themselves. By owning this whole stack from development all the way to deployment, Emergent pushed user deployment success rates from an initial 84% up to an incredible 98%. That means 98% of people hopping on the platform are successfully building something and pushing it live to production. That is the sheer power of tightening those feedback loops.
Moving to Section 4, multi-agent systems in action.
Since users are expecting the results of a full-blown dev shop, Emergent relies heavily on Claude Opus as their main workhorse. Like we mentioned earlier, they are prioritizing flawless instruction following and high-level reasoning over, say, fast, flashy one-shot demos. When an AI agent has to run for hours and execute maybe 10,000 individual steps, even the tiniest mistake compounds incredibly fast. So having a model that just crushes strict instruction following is literally non-negotiable for building reliable systems.
And here's the thing. They don't just use one single agent. Emergent was actually one of the very first teams to productionize multi-agent systems. It's kind of like a relay race. These agents run for hours, moving systematically. First, you have a prototype agent that builds the initial software. But then, a pre-deployment security agent tags in to hunt for security flaws and make sure no API keys are leaking. After that, a refactoring agent steps up and literally scrubs the code clean so it's scalable for the future. And finally, a post-deployment agent sticks around to maintain the whole thing.
Because, and this is the harsh reality of software, generating the code is actually only about 20% of the battle. Honestly, it's the easy part. The real magic and the real difficulty of this multi-agent system is how it tackles the other 80%. We're talking deployment, ironclad security, horizontally scaling the infrastructure when traffic spikes, and the endless ongoing maintenance. That 80% is exactly what separates a fun little weekend demo from a true business-critical application.
Finally, let's zoom back out for Section 5, automating end-to-end business operations.
So Emergent is taking all of this incredible infrastructure we just talked about, and they're launching a brand new product called Wingman. They are completely shifting the goalposts here. They want to move beyond just building apps for small businesses and start automating their entire back-office operations. We are talking about deploying long-horizon AI agents to autonomously handle the heavy lifting of a business: finances, operations, sales, and marketing. The whole shebang. As Emergent looks ahead to 2026, they're seeing a world where entrepreneurs start automating massive chunks of their businesses, truly paving the way for autonomous companies. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. If AI can successfully build your production-ready software today, and it can autonomously run your entire back-office operations by 2026, how will you adapt your role? What incredible ideas are you finally going to bring to life when the barriers are gone? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.